All right, what's up, folks? Today is June 23rd, 2024, and just going to do a quick little video in the Discord. I put in there, for anybody who has TradeStation Easy Language, I put in there into the library. I think I put in the library. I think maybe I put it in the indicators section, but I put a script in there that looks at retests of lows. So I wasn't even looking at the charts on Friday. It was off on vacation, something like that. But this high probability long here, this one here, I think this is probably the first time. I think this is probably the first time that I've seen it go off that it didn't continue straight up. I mean, because it would have fired off on this bar here. This would have been the close. It did come back, retest this low area, and it didn't break below it. So I guess technically it still was valid, at least for like a 1-to-1. But usually when I get this high probability long, it's because the candles have come up over, retested back into this green zone, and then it just shot straight up. So I'm not as impressed with the performance of the high probability long today, or from Friday. But you see here, this, like the way I have it set up, when this green box shows up as this well, I'd call it a bearish candle just because it's made a lower high than the previous one. But you see the tail here. If the tail had tapped into this range here, then this would have been a high probability long. And you see from here, it went straight up. So usually this is the kind of thing that I'm seeing for high probability long. It's on the 5-minute time frame. See this high probability long here? When you got the high probability long, it just kind of went straight up from there. So, and that high probability long has a very high success rate, which is why it's the high probability long. So I'm still impressed by the high probability long though. But while I was on vacation, I made another script, and I'm just going to, like I said, I've already put it into the Discord for download, but I'm just going to remake it here so you can see what I did. All right. And I also put some stuff in Discord about the homework that I did. And I'm very excited that now I've updated my system, my charts, so that anytime I open the chart up, it's going to pull back all this data from the history, instead of me having to go and upload it and copy and paste and upload and everything like that. So now my studies can be much more effective. All right. I made some notes on my tablet about like that guy there. So yeah, anyway, I won't go back through that. We will just get right into the copy, paste, and then we're just going to turn a bunch of stuff off because this is just kind of like a random scripts. So this is essentially what I did over the weekend. And there was a bit of a learning curve. Always is. No matter how good I get, I just still have some things that I just don't remember perfectly until I just do it a little bit. Let's see. This one. Okay. Projects out of here. Another new one. I was trying to do some things over the weekend or yesterday when I was messing with it. I was trying to make some new functions so that I wouldn't have to keep rewriting the variable statement, but I'm going to, I wish there was a shortcut on Windows 11 that I could use, but I'm gonna come up with something because I don't need to keep rewriting this. And let me check, I might actually have something, jot it down. Let's see, no I don't, but I will put it right here. Alright, so we'll do something like variable. Oh. New template, and then we can use what we need. Okay, so we're going to do using else. A lot of people won't be interested in doing this on a regular with every chart, but I just make so many scripts that I'm writing these things all the time. So this will be value 1. I just don't like, I mean, it might not take that long to type. I just don't like typing it every time I get ready to make a script. So I don't want to type out value 1, so here we go. Okay. So copy that. Myself a declarations area on a worksheet. Okay. All right. So pretty much we're gonna first, like I said, now that I've gone over it, so I'll tell you as I go, and then you'll be surprised at my error. It took me about an hour of fumbling to try to get through, and then it took me another, and then I took a break from it, and while we were out and about I had it up on my phone, so I just kind of looked at it a few times, and then it also took, you know, just walking around, getting everything out of my head, and then it took another 30 minutes to figure out the simple mistake that I had. So let's see. Low 4. So this end that value 1 is equal to the swing low of 4 bars. And we'll say if value 1 is greater than 0, which means that it exists, and value 1 is different from value 1 of a bar ago, which means that there is a new swing. Then plot 1. We're going to plot it this way first. We're going to plot the low, and we're going to make it blue. Better recopy that the right way. Put that back over here. Come back here. That. Now we're going to add that. ESO 623. This needs to be same axis as the underline, style, across. Okay, see all the crosses right there? All right, make that size 4. All right, so this is referencing that we did get a swing low 4 bars ago. This is referencing we got a swing low 4 bars ago. So why not put that we're talking about 4 bars ago? 4. Okay. Now, if we put that, now this does move it to 4 bars ago, but it's still referencing the low of whenever we found it. So we need to do the low of what? Low of 4 bars ago. So low of 4 bars ago. All right. So now we got that. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to say if we have a swing low, but the swing low happens to, and I know that different people have different there's different terminologies, different nomenclatures, different patterns, and I'm not going to ascribe to any specific technical analysis, but when you have this low down here, this bar here, the bar that makes the low, I am just talking about the top of the bar and the bottom of the bar. All right? Boom. And so if you have this swing low, whatever bar makes the low, you're looking at the bottom of the bar to the top of the bar. Boom. Okay? So I want to save that information, and then if so happen that we have a bearish candle that touches into this box, then that's when we're interested. See this new box here? We've got to touch into it. That's when we're interested. I mean, that just happened to work for the 21st. That doesn't work every time. Nothing works every time. So that's what we got to understand. But for the meantime, this is what we're working with. All right. So we need to capture both the low and the high of this bar. Whenever this is true, we need to capture the low and the high of what? 4 bars ago, though, right? We need to capture low and high 4 bars ago. So, capture low and high of 4 bars ago. All right, so in order to do that, we're going to send it to a method. We're going to use a method and void and check. I'm just going to put check range. Again, in. Okay, so when do we want to check range? We want to check range when this is true. Now, we need the information. We need the high and the low. How do we get the high and the low? We need to go ahead and store it first. So we're going to store it in a vector. So vector vlow, initialize or declare it as null, and then have another vector for v high. At one time over the weekend, I was going to put this into an array, so we'd store an array with several elements, but I think because of the way I needed to loop it and everything like that, I think it was just making it more complicated. No, it's because it's easier using a collection, because I only want to store like the last five values of the swing low. And so it's easier with a vector, because a vector is just a collection. It just collects, it's a stack, right? Boom, 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 boom. So it's easier for me to just delete the oldest one, whereas with an array, you have to, you got to either do an insert for a new one, or and then to delete the last one. Let me look at something real quick, because I don't know if there is an insert for an array, or if you have to, when you insert a new one, would you then have to move everything that's already in position? I think that's what happens. And that's not helpful. Yeah. There's not so many, there's not like as many methods and that kind of thing. You see how, like, when let me do this. Let's go to vector. See how when you look under array, there's like really no methods. There's these functions that utilize the array, these functions that you can do things with for the array. But when you look up a vector, I mean, it's got a bunch of methods already that are set up to work within the collection that you have. And so I like that much better. Okay. All right, so again, and this, I realized something, and I've often, your organization is very key and is helpful when you're making programs, especially programs that are a little bit more complex. So try to start with, like I said, maybe describing what you want to do. All right, so program looking at swing low retest. Okay, and then you're going to have your namespaces, whether it be using EL system, using da 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 da. All right, and then you're going to do your declarations. All right, and then after your declarations, you're going to have your methods. Okay, and then after your methods, you want to do your once statements. And this is one of the things that I'm going to do differently now. Is typically, like when I do once statements, you see here I have a vector v low and v high. Typically what I'll do is I'll just come here and I'll do once v low equals new vector, and then I'll do once v high equals new vector. I'll do that. Now when I was working on it earlier the other day, I had it here and that was fine, and then when I did the new one there, I didn't have the once, and so it was creating a new vector each time, so all these values were off because it was completely clearing what was in the vector before. How to get around that? Just have a once statement that, and don't keep rewriting your once unless you really need to within some other part of your program. Okay, so our once statement is going to do these things one time, and that's it. All right, so we got our declarations, our methods, our once statements. We're not using an array, and then your program body. All right. Now, so once we did get this new, once we got a new value there, we're gonna what? We're gonna begin and end. We don't really need to plot this. We can, but it's not necessary. Okay, but what we do need to do is we need to save the low from 4 bars ago and the high from 4 bars ago. So, and we don't want to have too many elements in our stack. So we only want 5 elements in our stack. So we'll do this. We'll say if vlow.count is greater than or equal to 5. So if we happen to have 5 elements in our stack, as we're coming to a new instance or a new iteration, then let's delete one. Let's delete the one on the back. Then begin, we're actually going to vlow dot, VLow isn't, it should automatically come up with the stuff after VLow. So any parameters or any methods that your specific object uses, it should come up with that afterwards. So when I type in VLow and hit dot, it should come up with stuff after that. If it doesn't, then that means that either we need to re-verify, or you see vector or something is wrong, and it's not showing that vector is a valid object. All right, so why is this not right here? Invalid data type. I wonder, was this going to be a problem? Let's take a look at this. So you see here we have integer or double. We have a numeric data type, numeric, boolean, boolean. Then we come down here and we have another variable for declaration, and we have vector VLow. The only thing I can think of is that vector is a stack, it's a collection. So you can't use vector without also using the collection namespace. Hit that. Now we verify. Now there's no issues, except for we got to come back in here and redo this. All right, so low dot pop back, and also we want to pop back because the vector low and the vector high should have the same number, because we're filling vector low and high at the same time each time. So we only really need to look at the count of one of them. All right, so we're going to do V high as well. Pop back, and then we're going to end. All right, and so now if we had 5 elements, now we only have 4. Okay, and so now that we only have 4 elements, now we can put in the new element value, which would be VLow dot insert. We're going to insert at the 0 index, so at the very beginning we're going to insert the low of 4 bars ago. All right, I'm going to try this a couple ways just to confirm or hash out the issues I was having yesterday. So we saved the low and we saved the high, right? The high 4 bars ago, the low 4 bars ago. Okay, shouldn't be any issues with this. No issues. All right, so now that we have those saved, now we want to check the range, or I guess we don't need to do it now, but if we do have a bearish candle, we just want to check and see if the bearish candle dropped to within this range of this candle, right? So now we use our condition. We'll say condition 1 is equal to a bearish candle, bear, and the low is less than, and I wanted to use this too, and the low is less than the low of 1 bar ago. Because you can just use L for low. I don't know if you can use C. I guess you can use C, close, low, close, high. So instead of writing it all out, which is what I usually do, you can just use, you know, the letters, which works just fine. All right, so the condition 1 is going to be if we have a bear and a low lower than the bar, low lower than the bar. If we have a bearish candle and the low is lower than the low of the bar ago, a bar ago, 1 bar ago. All right, so we'll do this first. We'll say then plot 2. We're going to plot the low, and we'll make it black. Default. 3. Okay, low lower than the bar goes. Oh, well, let's see. We're just going to put that, and we'll say if C1, then that. Okay, so these are all the times here when we got a bearish candle and the low was lower than the low of a bar ago. Bearish candle and the low is lower than the bar, lower than the low of a bar ago. Bearish candle and the low is lower than the bar. You see here we have a bearish candle, but the low is higher than the low of a bar go. All right, so if we got C1, which is this condition, so we'll say that we have bear and low less than low of a bar go. All right, so if C1, then we're going to plot 2. So instead of doing that, we're going to say if, instead of plotting, we're going to say if C1, then we're going to check the range. Check range. And you see that that is the method up top. Okay, so if C1, then we're going to check the range. So there should be no issues there. All right, so now every time, instead of that plus showing up, instead of that plotting, now every time when we get that low, that bear and the low is less than the low of a bar go, now it's going to check range. Now, when it checks the range, what do we want it to do? We want it to look back through the records of the stack, look back through the records of the vector, and if that low of this bear happens to be within that range of that high and that low, then we want to plot. Okay. So so now we're going to use a loop. Okay, so for x is equal to, now I'm going to show you why we're not going to do it this way. For x is equal to 0 to how high are we going? How many iterations of the loop are we doing? Well, we're just going to do as many iterations as there are in the vector. How many iterations are there in the vector? Either vector, because they have the same amount. We'll do vlow.count. We want to do vlow.count minus 1 because when you have a vector, you have an element in the 0 position as well. You have one in the 0 position, one in the 1 position, 2, 3, 4, 5th position. So how many elements is that? That's 6 elements because you have one in the 0 position. So if you want to check to see, if you want to check every iteration within your vector, if you have a vector with up to 5, up to the 5th index, well then you also have a total of 6 elements, right? So if the count happens to be 5, then you only need to go as high as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th index. So you have to do vlow.count, so the count in the vector minus 1. All right, so once you got that set up, then you do the begin. And now, like, I took the time to explain that because that is something that will have you either throw programming in the trash or be hung up on it for hours and hours and days or whatever. Okay, so that is a very key part of loops. Yeah, so all right, so for x is equal to 0, the vlow.count, what are we going to do? We're going to say if the low, so if the low is greater than if it's greater than the low of 4 bars ago, which how do we pull that information? That's vlow.at index. You see, vlow, what's in the vector, at what index? What index is going to be at the x iteration of the index. So vlow.at x. So if the low is greater than the low of either one of those, so what's in our stacks, what's in our each swing low is going to be a pair. So this is going to be a high low, this is going to be a high low, this is going to be a high low. So your low has got to be in between one of those pairs. It's got to be in between one of those pairs. It's checking every pair, okay? And it's checking the first pair, or it's going to check the 0 index pair. It's going to check the 1 index pair, the 2nd index pair, the 3rd index pair. Okay, so if it's All right, and so this is how you get the second part of the pair. You got to say if the low is greater than the low at that index, and the low is less than the V high dot at X, then you want to plot. We'll do plot 2. We're going to plot the low, and I'm going to show you what's going on here. Plot the low. Okay. And then, now I'm going to do this 2 different ways because this is something that I learned yesterday as well. So I'm still learning a lot of stuff. When you're in a method, I know that when you're in a method can return a value or it cannot return a value. So right here, if I put then check range, here it's performing this function, which is all of this, and it's not returning a value here. But if this function, if this method returned a value, then right here, in place of that check range, it would put a number, or it would put a Boolean, or it would put a string. It would put something there. In order to tell it not to return, not to put anything there, we put void, right? So it's not returning anything. If we were going to return a number right there, we'd put integer, or we put Boolean, or something like that. Okay, but we're not returning anything, so we put void. But so typically when you're going to return something, you would put, whenever you get here, if this was true, you'd say, if this was true and this was true, you say then do what? Then return the number 25, right? Or return true. Or you do something like that. So we're not going to return anything. We're just going to do a plot. But when you use the word return, that shuts the method down. So that tells the method, stop here. We got what we need. We got what we came for. Go back to the rest of the program. So I realized though that you can still use return even though you're not returning anything. You can return, you can stop the method. So whereas here, you may want to run through every iteration, or you may not. For me, I don't need to run through every iteration. Once I found an iteration that's true, I just want to go ahead and plot this and then return back to the main body, right? So I'm gonna show you this 2 ways, and then we'll go and look at something else. All right, so. But because we're doing 2 things, we're both plotting and we're returning, then we're going to use a begin end statement. All right, so we hit that. All right, oh, and we put an X in there, so we got to bring that variable in there, and then it'll be an integer X. Where do you want to end at? Where do you want to end at? Begin. That's the begin for that, so we need another end here. Okay. All right. Cross. Or high. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Okay, so for x is equal to 0 to vlow.count minus 1, begin if low is greater than vlow dot at x. Oh, I already did it. Well, I kind of wanted to do it and then show you, but this is what got me hung up for hours. We put information into the vector right here, right? We put information into the vector right here. It's the low. We know that low is a double. The low is a double, right? Because, well, and maybe you don't know that it's a double. It just puts it into the stack. I would assume that if you put a double into the stack, then you're going to get a double out of the stack. That's not what the computer assumes. The program, the system, it's not assuming anything. It said you need to let me know what you're bringing out. What you're pulling this out of the vector, but what is it? Because you see I hit verify, it's verified and everything, but nothing worked. And I had to go through and I did print statements, I did all kinds of things, and I finally figured it out. So you had to do as type. So you're pulling it out of the vector as what type? As a double. And you got to do the same thing over here. Because I used a print statement and it showed that it had the right information in the vector. It had the information, it just didn't know what to do with it. Right? Okay, I know that this is a hand, but I don't know if it's a man's hand. I don't know if it's a alligator hand. It's just a hand. So the computer wants to know, what is it? How do I assign it? Was as type. What kind of type is it? As type double. All right, so now when we hit verify, now we got something. Now we got something. Now our value's gone. But again, it took me hours to figure that out. So hope you remember that when you're using a vector and you're pulling information out of the vector, you probably got to use the type. Now I want to try that one other way, just because I didn't do this yesterday. If I take away the as type and I put it into the vector as the certain type, can it figure out that when I pull it out, it needs to stay that type? So when I put it in, I'll put low. But I think when you put it in is type instead of as type. So is type double. Okay, it took that. It didn't say that there was an error. Let's try this one. Is type double. Okay, so it didn't do anything with that. It still needs to know. Let's try that as type. Okay, again, it took that, but it still needs something up here. Okay, noted. So anytime you take it out, it's still gotta be defined. As type double. I thought I've worked with vectors before and I didn't have to put that though. So I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm working with it inside a method. I don't know, but it's probably just good good programming, good syntax to put it there. So let's look it up real quick and see what it says. Insert, push back. Going to display, erase, pop back. Yeah, see, and even with all this, it doesn't tell you that you need to use as type to tell you to pull what. Yeah, it doesn't tell you. So yeah, that's something that you're going to have to. That's something you're going to have to learn and remember. Okay, so let's come back here. All right, so even though we plotted this, remember, just like up above, or just like back here in the main body, even though we plotted this, we really want to be looking at, no, well, when we plotted this one down here, this was telling us 4 bars ago, because we had a here, this was we're plotting it 4 bars ago because we had a new swing and we needed to know what where the swing was from 4 bars ago. So let's do this. Okay, so these are your swing levels. I'm gonna do a point. These are your swing levels, right, with the circle. Okay, but and they're red. Okay, but so your swing levels are going to have a high and a low. Your swing levels are going to have a high and a low. Your swing levels are going to have a high and a low. All right, so this is going to give us our range of what we're looking for. All right, and so then, like I said, when we get a bearish candle, then we want to check to see if our bearish candle drops to within that high and that low, and this does. All right. Now we're getting more crosses up here, though, right? So we're getting this cross up here. So why are we getting this cross up here? Well, look at this. If we zoom in on... Wait a minute. I moved you, so you're supposed to do like this. There you go. All right, so if we look at this candle here, this low is right here, right? And draw a horizontal line. This low is right here. Okay, and it comes right through here. Well, what is this one? This is a suitable swing low. We know because it's got a red dot, so this is a suitable swing low, and it becomes one of those pairs that we look for. It's got from the low to the high. If we have a bearish candle that drops into that zone, then we're going to say that's a potential entry, right? But this is not a potential entry. And I think what I was looking at yesterday is there are better more reliable signals come from a bearish candle that has a low lower than the low before it, and the volume is higher than the volume before it, right? So we need to add that to this condition 1 bear, and volume is greater than volume before it. Okay. And you know what? I don't even think I use volume. I think I use V6, which is volume, the 6-period moving average of the volume. But let's just do the volume first. I'm pretty sure I didn't use volume because I don't remember using ticks. All right, so we gotta say that the ticks is greater than ticks embargo. Okay, and so when we do that, now we get this guy, this guy. We still get some of these in here. We get this one, these. I'm pretty sure I use V6 though. Let's see what that looks like. I know I did something with volume, but I almost don't feel like it was V6. All right, so V6 is greater than V6 of embargo, which just means that volume is starting to move up. Okay, and so when I use the V6 one, we get this guy, we get this guy, we get this one, this one. I mean, I'd be okay with this one. And even this one, if you were to get in at this low down here, if you assume some risk, then it does move back up quite a bit. And even this one, if you get in on this bar and you assume some risk, then it moves way up. So, I don't know. If you get in on this one, I mean, it does, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it's viable. I feel like there was something else I did. Let me go back and see, because I'm just purely making this script off of memory from what I did. Let's see. What did I put in the Discord? Because what I do is I will sit there and I'll study the chart for a while and then come up with conditions and then I will script something. So like I said, just doing this from memory is not taking into consideration some of these other components that would make it a better script. All right, let me see. Open in browser. All right, so this is the script that I posted in Discord. Yeah, I did use V6, so the 6-period moving average of the volume. Yep. I can't really see anything else different that I did though. Use a 4-bar swing low, swing high. Okay, well, I'm just gonna leave it at that. We will also say that if it's Eric's market, which just means that it's kind of between like the 9:30 and 4 o'clock hours. Okay, so it gets rid of all these in here. Okay, so we got this. We can get rid of those other 2 plots there because we don't necessarily need that. Alright, and so we get those. Those are fine. Just for the sake of cleaning up the chart, we'll take those out. And these. Okay. See how it looks on other days. Yeah. Volume V6. Whatever I put into the Discord was it was a little bit different, and the values were, the responses were better. Oh, well, I know one thing, and I was going to mention it to you guys, and like I said, I was kind of holding off just so I could explain it to you, but and then I forgot to make the adjustment. So one of the things that you want to be careful of is when you do get a new value here, when you get a new value, when you get a new swing, you don't, and then you come right in here, and then you check this range. Just want to be careful that you want to be careful that if like you're on the same bar or the very next bar or something like that, that you're not checking the range of that very next bar. So if I get a new swing low here, then I may not want to use the most immediate swing low. So what I did on the other chart is instead of using the most recent iteration, I used the next iteration. All right. Well, that didn't seem to change it that much, but that's what I did. 5 minute, 1 minute time frame. Something's different. Like I said, this here wasn't about coming up with the best strategy. It was about showing you how to find the swing lows, find the put it into loops, work the method, using a vector. I mean, there's actually a lot to it, right? So we've got loops in here, we've got methods in here, once statements, we've got conditions, we've got functions, we've got vectors, and manipulation of vectors because we're deleting the last of the vectors. Yeah, so there's actually quite a bit to it. But I really shouldn't spend any more time on this. But insert the low forward. You know what? I'm not going to spend more time on it. Okay. All right, but this is what I got yesterday. Whenever I did it yesterday, and yesterday, like I said, when I was working on it, I was on vacation and whatnot, but I had my laptop with me, so I programmed it on the laptop. Of course, I could save it and export it and bring it over here onto the main desktop, but I'm not going to do that because it's not that great a script. It was just practice. And then here is the next one. They're just screenshots of when I put it together. So that one. I don't know if you saw that one. That one. And that one. And then I think the complete program there. If you like that program, then you can get that program right here. But what I put together just now, you could certainly use that as well. Okay. All right, get out of here. All right, so like I said, I certainly learned a little bit while I was working on this. So again, one of the key takeaways that you do need to assign the type of data that's coming out of the vector, and then 2 is here as type double, and then 2. Like I said, when you're doing your one statements, just try to make it one statement instead of splitting your one statements up into several different one statements. 3, this return here. If I don't use return right there, then I think what it's going to do is it may take my plots away. No, it didn't. Okay, so when I got a plot, when this became true, it went ahead and plotted for me. And then even if it went back on the next iteration, it didn't find it to be true. It didn't remove the plot. So that's good. But if I hit return, then it should take a little bit less of the system's resources. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to check. Let me see. There was one other thing I wanted to check. I know that return was part of it. Below X count blue return in let's begin below equals new vector, b high is equal to new vector. can't think of what it was. I feel like it has something to do with the method, though. Zero. B1 is different from B1 of a barago. And then yeah, I guess that's it. Man, I feel like it was one more thing to go over. No, okay, all right, well. Yes, always programming something. So now the question is, if you get this signal in 5-minute time frame, then what do you do on the lower time frame? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do on the lower time frame? I just copied and pasted a new window. I don't know if you caught that. But so this is the 5-minute time frame up here. This is the 1-minute time frame down here. So this one specific strategy or the indicator, this is what it looks like on the 5-minute time frame. Gives you these, gives you these. So if you were to get this on the 5-minute time frame, then what are you doing on the 1-minute time frame? On the 5-minute time frame, it starts giving you the go signals right in here. On the 1-minute time frame, it gives it to you here. But now, even when you get this, one thing that I have noticed for sure is that until you don't really want to start taking positions until you get a moving up. In the long direction, you don't want to take positions until you get a higher low, right? So you see this lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. Nice little pin bar, whatever you want to call it. And then you get a higher low right here. Even though it went up and then retraced back down, this is still a higher low. A close was a higher low. So that was here, and that's in that same candle. So that might have been your plus. You got higher volume here. Let's see what this looks like on the other chart, right? So I'm gonna put a pin right here. I'm gonna put a value right there, okay? And then now we'll come over to our chart that has all of our information, right? So here, 15-second time frame, it put a line right here, right? So this is the time frame that we're talking about. So we saw what happened on the 5-minute time frame. It gave us a potential entry. We saw what happened on the 1-minute time frame. We finally got a higher low. And now when we're looking at this 15-second time frame, what is it telling us? What has it told us? Well, we did get this peak here, which is just from what I've seen, is a good sign that you're about to go long again. What you get on the level 2, it's not even really the level 2, is the inside bid data. You get this high move right here. You get an influx of bids that have come to the table. So I think this, in combination with seeing the other chart, seeing the 5 minute time frame, and then you finally get your higher low here, I think that's the time when you say, all right, well, maybe I should be looking for a buy. Short-term basis, of course. But my other chart has a little bit more information, right? So this is this has the spread, the largest bid or ask, the immediate inside bid or ask, the cumulative orders, whether it be bid, ask, or market, and then this has the volatility index that I put together. And then this over here, don't know why it's not showing these other studies. These other studies being all of these. On, off. On, close. Again, I made some adjustments to my scripts, so I should be getting a bunch of this data, but outside orders not showing up. Why not? Because all this data is what we saw in the other chart. This other data here is other important data, which does not seem to be showing up. I do like the market data here. But again, so we were talking about this area here. Oh, yeah. We're talking about this area right here, right? And so in this area here, if you look down here, you can follow the vertical line going up and down. We have this high marks and these high marks. This says that there's a lot of interested parties that just came out of the woodworks, and they got to get in or out right now. That, you know, it's crunch time. So these numbers are high right here, but my outside orders should be showing up too. So I don't know why those are not showing up. Oh, something showed up. Okay, I gotta figure out why it shows up here and not up there. All right, so let me sort through that right now. It's outside market orders and the cumulative level 2. Because cumulative level 2 is pretty important too. It shows where there's where the entire market said, "Oh man, it's time to do. We got to do something. We don't know if it'll work, but we got to try something." And everybody sees that as a huge level to do something with. So cumulative level 2. It should not be on the desktop though. This should have moved. It should have moved to here. So why do I have two different? Because this is saying path name, and then down here, if stream is equal to true, then once begin stream writer, we're going to write it to that file, and end last bar on chart. Okay. All right. Stream reader, we're going to read from that path. You don't want to read from that path. You want to read from that path, and you also want to write to that path. So this needs to be path name as well. All right, so apparently I've been saving it all to which one? I think I was saving it to the desktop, and then I was reading it from the new location, saving it to the desktop. So I was saving it here. Cancel. I'm supposed to save that. Anyway. Alright, so 619. So I've been saving everything here, so I just need to all copy that, and then here 611 as far as I went back. 13, 619, 619. How much more data did I have there? New tab. 619. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so let's just copy all this. Cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Alright. And we will paste it. And then we will save it. You don't want me to save over top of this? 619. Save. Alright, well, if it's not letting me save, then it's because one of the scripts has it open. And I don't even think it should have it open right now. So you have to close it from writing to it so that you can save it. So we need to turn cumulative 2 off so that we can then save it. See, it's saved, no problem. All right, turn that off, and then when we turn this back on, now it's reading it from that file, and it should put us some data up there. It's actually looking very confused. Okay, it was going slow, but here's the data. All right, so that's good. All right, so we got the data up there now. All right, good. And so back in that one area where it moved up from, that here? I don't think that was the same day. Let me add the other ones, the market orders, and then we'll come back and look and see. All right, so tasks, outside market orders, edit easy language. It should be not on the desktop. It should be the TradeStation files, which is right. All right, so that's the reader. It's reading from there, and then yeah, it's trying to read from the desktop. So this needs to be the same. There's that. Save it. Okay, so it was saving it to the desktop. Outside orders. Copy all that. It's going back as far as the 19th. I'm going to copy that. And this should be instead, well, we know that we need to turn the script off before we can, we got to turn the stream writer off before we can change the file. Okay, so we turn off outside orders, turn that off. Now we can go and open the file. It's here. And we're just going to amend it. already got some values there though. Let's see, 921. Hopefully we don't have any duplicates, which is what I'm feeling like is gonna happen. All right, get rid of that. Come back here. All right, turn that back on. And good, so it came up. All right, so the only thing that I'm not really saving right now is the TikTok bar. TikTok bar is supposed to be a script that shows me how much time is in between so many ticks of a so many ticks of the chart, right? So I'm using a stopwatch STW EOS system. All right, so we are creating the stopwatch once. We're doing count plus equal to 1, and count is inch bar persist, so it will work on each tick within the bar. And so once we get a count of equal to 1, and we have to restart it here and somewhere, but once we get a count of equal to 1, then we're going to start the stopwatch. And so if the count is equal to 20, so in other words, we get 20 ticks, then we're going to begin, I guess we're looking for the elapsed milliseconds is going to be what time CUM is, and then we're going to reset the stopwatch and reset the count, and then we're going to end. So if we get to the end of a bar, if we get to the final bar, then the final tick of the bar, then we're going to plot the time CUM. And time CUM is not just the elapsed milliseconds, but we're adding, so every time we get 20 ticks, we're taking the elapsed milliseconds and we're adding that to the time CUM just prior. And then we're adding the time CUM again. We keep doing that for every block of 20 ticks until we get to the final tick of the bar, at which time we're plotting that time CUM, and then we're going to reset the time CUM equal to 0, and we'll start over. So in other words, like I said, this is just adding all of the milliseconds within. And I don't even, as I say it out loud, I don't even know if I want to do with that. I really want like the minimum. The maximum. Because what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the chart to move and then it just pause. And then nothing happens, and then all of a sudden it moves again. So I'm looking for that pause. So I'm looking for that increased amount of time in between. But then that may not occur on ticks either. That may, because sometimes there will be a movement and then no ticks, and then it'll keep going. And sometimes it'll be moving fast and then it'll just go slow. And then it'll start moving fast again. So I've got to figure out which one I'm looking for. But what I'm doing here is I'm just adding all of the time, and that I don't think that's what I'm looking for. I don't think that's what I want. I'm glad I took the time to look at this. But I think this is one of my first or second times using the stopwatch. So part of me was wanting to just use the stopwatch, and the other part of me was trying to figure out how to make a program that would be useful. So I think in figuring out that I could use the stopwatch appropriately, I fell short on making the program useful. So I'll come back to this one. Because yeah, I'm just taking all those blocks of the time that it takes to get through 20 ticks, and then I'm adding them, which I think that's useful maybe if you're looking at like a tick bar, a tick chart, but I'm using them on a bar chart, on a time-based chart, 15 seconds. So it almost seems like it should be equal. Because however much time it takes you to get, if you have a 15-second chart, you may have a billion ticks in here, but the total time that it takes to get from 0 to a billion is going to be 15 seconds. It doesn't matter if you have, or if you only have 20 ticks. The time from here to here is 20 seconds. 15 seconds. So it's almost like that should be it's almost like those values should just be flat across the board. Maybe off a millisecond or two. So I got to look back through some of my screen recordings to see what the difference is, what the discrepancy is, because it shouldn't be very much. Not when we're looking at a time-based chart. With the exception of if it's a slow-moving chart, in order for it to reset, that reset may come no, because the reset is going to reset just as soon as it gives this information. Just as soon as it gives the elapsed time information, it's going to reset immediately. So with the exception of how long it takes for the computer to process, which I believe the computer is going to be processing quicker than milliseconds. It might be microseconds, so there shouldn't be much of a discrepancy there. But yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I've got to look at that. So maybe I'll just make another line that says something like if bar status of 1 is equal to 2 and the last bar on the chart, then we're going to begin. So we're going to plot the time. We're going to plot that total time, and then we're also going to, every time we have a elapsed milliseconds, we're going to say that let's see, I want to look for the longest time elapsed. So we're going to assign value 1 equal to stw dot elapsed milliseconds. So once we assign that, now once we get bar status 2, at the end of that, we will reset. Well, we need to use a vector to store it. And using a vector, we're going to el system.collections, and then we'll say vector. What do we want to call it? I'll call it VV, vector values. I don't know. All right, and then so VV. So also once begin, create that VV. is equal to new vector end. Okay, so once we get our new vector, then count is equal to 20, then begin. Value 1 is going to be that, and then we're going to add VV dot insert at the 0 position. Or we could add it at the end because it doesn't matter what order it's in. Not for this time. We're just looking at the total thing. So VV dot insert VV dot. We could just do pushback. So to push it to the end of the stack, which will be val 1. Okay, so now we're going to have count is equal to 20. Then we're going to add a new value to the vector. And when we get to the end of the bar, then we're going to look at all the values in the vector. And let's see, are there any assignments that we can already do for the vector? Items of index. Is there like a max, vector max? I know there are for arrays. Or instead of doing it as a vector, we could just say, all right, well, we're going to store value 1 and if value 1 is greater than value 1 a bar ago. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So instead of using a vector, we'll say if value 1 is greater than value 1 of a bar ago, then value 1 equals value 1. If value 1 is greater than value 1 of a bar ago, then value 1 is equal to value 1. And it's less than value 1 of a bar ago, then we're going, the value 1 is going to be equal to what? If value 1 is greater than value 1 of a bar ago, then value 1 is equal to value 1. If value 1 is less than value 1 of a bar ago, then value 1 is equal to value 1 of a bar. I mean, that should be fine. I shouldn't need to do the second component. So we'll say value 1 is, then value 1 is equal to value 1. And I don't need to do else, because else being the case, value 1 never changes, right? Yeah, I think I do need to do it. I think I just need to do the other version. If value 1 is less than value 1 is less than value 1 of a bar ago, then value 1 is equal to value 1 of a bar ago. Okay, because else value 1 is just going to be equal to, it's just going to stay its value 1. Okay, and yeah, So if we get to the end of the bar, then we're going to plot value 1 also. Plot 2 is going to be equal to value 1. We'll make this one. Make this one blue. So max time, and this will be, well, I mean, I did put on there this is cumulative time, so I'm telling you. All right, so cumulative. That should work. No errors. Very good. Don't need to bother the system with pulling up this information or initializing any vectors. So we'll just get that out of here. Okay. All right. So that should help me with the TikTok bar part. Okay, all right, so where were we? We were looking up to see if, and I was going to do something else with it, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm done with this. All right, so we're looking here. If we got this on the 5-minute time frame and we started getting these on the 1-minute time frame, what does that mean? Do we need to wait for any other confirmation? Do we enter there? Okay, so I think we were talking about that we definitely wanted to have a higher low close, and with that, those two areas were marked up to here on the chart. So that was here. And we were just looking to see what this other data, how the other data supports getting in here or not. Again, we got those higher low closes. But when you're looking at such a small time frame, you see here, even you get higher low closes. So you might have started getting in here, and that might have been the getting in prematurely. This is what we're looking for, which doesn't come until here. And so still you wouldn't want to get in here yet. You still want to wait for that higher low, which you don't get. Now you finally get it down here. This is good. I do like to see this spread open though, which typically you wouldn't see at the very bottom. You might see as the chart starts to move up, kind of like in here. And then I was seeing below bids showing up too. Like you see this below bid show, I was seeing that show up when I was looking through the chart at other places. But we must keep our foot on their necks. We must. Because that's how we're going to beat the system. Beat the system. All right. I think that's it for me. I came, I saw, I conquered. But what I was planning to do is, like I said, maybe make something on the 5-minute time frame that gives you an indication, get in here, and then you're looking for something subsequently on the 1-minute time frame. All right, so it might be like this. You go and you take this. I know, man. I don't know when to stop. I enjoy coding. One day it's going to pay off, and the love of coding is actually going to it's going to transfer into value in the market. But in the meantime, I'm just going to, keep coding. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do a new one. But I promise you, I'm about to get off quick. Very soon. Very soon. ES 06 23 24 V at 2. I think I'm gonna start using the at symbol when I've got multiple data streams. So I'm gonna do a multiple data stream here. 2 data streams. We're gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna come down here, and then this 5-minute time frame is going to tell us when it's okay to start looking here. Okay, so I want to take this one off, that rest off. This is going to be a show me. All right, we're going to say if this and this and that. All right, so we got to add a 5-minute time frame onto here, which you go to right here for add symbol. It's going to be the same thing. ESU 24. Prompt for editing. Plot. We want to make it in the background. Don't need to be 10 days back. We can just do 5 days. Because what are we doing with our lives? Alright, so style. Scaling. Not the subgraph. We want it to be the no axis? Right axis. First subgraph puts it on the same chart. I believe. There we go. Okay, so if these things are true, then this should already be plotting, right? So, because we haven't changed anything as of yet. So this is the 1 minute time frame. All right, so this is the 1 minute time frame. It's got the 5-minute time frame hanging out in the background. All right, so we're gonna go to show me ES0623. Two. Okay. We're basing the study on the, well, it should be the 5-minute time frame in the background. Right now it's the 1 minute time frame in the background, so we have to change that. We'll base this study on the 5-minute time frame. All right, so now we need to change our symbols, because this should be the 5-minute time frame. Change it to 5. Okay, close. All right, so now when we go and we do a global position to here, you see what happens, right? So we are on. This is showing you. You see it in the background there. This is showing you the 1 minute time frame. However, this study here is based on the 5-minute time frame. Why? Because we did a show me, and we said that the show me is based on the second data stream. Okay. All right, and so when you get this dot here, you get this dot here, but this is the 1 minute time frame, but it shows up here. All right, so and if you were to get it there, you go, oh yeah, that looks good. You see this random stuff popping up right here? That's the 5-minute candle. So what do? You double click on that 5-minute candle, or you can go to it a number of ways. But then you just go to style and you make it 100% transparent. Now it's done disappeared. Okay, I mean, it's still there though. Like if you click on it, right? I mean, I can still click on it. It's right here. It's just transparent. All right, so I mean, that looks much better there. That looks like a good entry there. What does it look like on other potential entries? There's that one. And then there's that one. Man, that looks like a great entry. That one is an okay entry. That one is not bad. I mean, huh. So these don't look too bad on the 1 minute time frame. This is throwing off my scaling because we have the other time frame in the background. It's been a while since I've played around with the multiple data streams, but there is a way to make it play nicer together. Scaling right axis, subgraph 1. Automatic. The thing is when you change one, so when they're both automatic, you can go from left to right just fine, but that's what it was. So if I change the scaling now if I go back and use my hotkeys for automatic scaling, I just did it right here, and it's not doing it, right? So once you change it manually, it's like you're always changing the wrong one. You see here for the 1 minute time frame, it's automatic scaling based on the data range on the screen, date range on the screen. And then if we go to data 2, scaling, now that one got fixed. That one's off. All right, so we hit that. But if you do hidden, then as I understand, as I've worked with it before, it also hides the plots. You see this plot right here? I go to global positioning. You see it hit that plot also. So it completely hides the whole thing, which is kind of crazy. It's like, well, why would you even want it on your chart if you're going to hide everything about it? So I still don't understand that part of the development. So we're not going to hide it. We're going to keep it on 1. We're going to have that on the right axis. We're going to change this one. Scaling is going to be the right axis as well. But again, when you change one, why would you not also then change the other if they're based on the same axis? Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, see there. Now they're off again. Oh, did that fix it? All right, well, so just an easy reset scaling range fixes the both of them. So I can't do it with my hotkeys, which is Control A and Control S. Can't do it with my hotkeys. But if I come here, that fixes it. All right, I'm good with that. That's fine for me. I don't ask much. I don't ask much at all. Okay, so what I was going to do was when we do get that indication. So one of the things you could do is when you get this indication here, when you get this potential entry, we know that it works based on the 5-minute time frame because that's what's up here. So we'll just go ahead and work with just this. And so what you would do is you would say, now that we're using multiple data streams and we get a potential entry on the 5-minute time frame, now we come over here and up here we're plotting, right? So when we get this, it's essentially a plot, which is here. So instead of plotting though, we would say something like, I mean, you can still plot, but you'd also say maybe condition 3 is equal to true. And then you come down here a little bit lower, and you know, because we have the second data stream, and this is based on the second data stream. I wonder. Okay, so if condition 3 equals true, which it will be effective right here. Now C3 equals true. All right, so if condition 3 equals true, then we want to take the first higher low, higher high. So it would be here. No. We want to look for we want to track the higher highs, and then we want to look for the lower highs, and then we'll take the entry on the first higher high. So if C3 is equal to true, then we'll do look for next entry. Look for any. And that's going to be a method. I'm just kind of playing around here now, so hopefully this works. It might not. Okay, so look for any. So it needs to be something. So we're going to do a couple things. Again, C4 is equal to false. And so in order to get C4, well, we only want to do this once. But we want to do the look for NE on every bar. Is equal to true, then begin. Can I do this once? C4 is equal to false. And then look for any. Or instead of doing that, we'll say value 2, it's like ground 0. Value 2 equals 1. Because that'll keep resetting value 2 equal to 1. got an idea, but I feel like that's making it too complicated, and I don't need to make it more complicated than it has to be. I'm coming up with complicated scenarios to make it easier. When I could just use the complicated scenario and it would work just fine. All right. Okay. The high is greater than half of Vargo then. So if high of a bar go is greater than the high of a bar before that, and high of this bar is less than high of a bar go, and C5 equals true. And if C5 Vargo is true and high is greater than high of Vargo, and C6 if C6 equals true, then begin with the plot. I don't know what plot we're on, 4 maybe. I'm gonna plot the low, red, and then we're going to make C3 equal false, C4 equal false, C5 equal false, and C6 equal false. End. And return. And yeah. Okay. C6. I feel like it should have set off right here though. That's cute. That's cute. But it should have went off. Oh, but it's got to be based on the 1 minute time frame now. So, yeesh. This is going to get fickle. I think I can do it this way. Maybe I can't. I don't think I can do it this way. Ah, that sucks. So again, this is my first time going into multiple data streams with methods. So something's not right. It doesn't like something. I think because this high of data 1, I think because this is already referencing data 1, that I don't then need to say that true false is referencing data 1. I don't think so. That the booleans, you see here, and I didn't do it there. So there we go. All right, so it worked. Well, I don't know if it worked or not, because I mean this one fired off, but I feel like it should have fired off right here, because we got a higher high, higher high, higher high, lower high, lower high. Well, I guess the high did go above it, but it didn't close. Okay, so this one had a close above. This one had a close above this close. Yeah. Okay. So that works. So I'm gonna have to look over this, because this is, like I said, we're starting to get into the more complex scripts that I've ever written, which is good, because I mean I should be getting better with them. I should be getting more complex with them, but it can get confusing. Excuse me. Okay, so here we got to go long, which I don't know if there's enough meat on that tomato. And that was going down. But did it do it right? But did it do it right? Ah, okay, I see. So I need to turn it off though. But that was a close above the higher high, low. Yeah, I've gotta sit down with it and see what's going on, because I don't think that it's doing what I'm thinking it's doing. Low of that a 1, and also once C3 is true and I'm doing this, I need to shut C3 off if something, like say this is C3 being true. If C3 drops below the low of C3, then we need to shut C3 off and not keep looking for an entry, kind of a thing. Here I've already said C3 is equal to true, which was based on what? Based on this. And now here I say that begin C3 is equal to true. Okay, C4 is equal to true, and if C4 of a bar goes equal to true, yeah, I need to figure out when to turn C3 off. You see here, I need to turn C3 off if the price drops below the low, maybe. But here, it didn't drop below the low, so it kept going. But if this was the signal bar, then yes, the price did drop below the low, so we wouldn't want to be taking that. So we need to say if, alright, so if C3 is equal to true, then we're going to hold that value. So we're going to begin, we're going to look at it. We're also going to do like a low hold. Is going to be equal to the low. Low hold is equal to low. And then end. And then low hold. And then we'll say if low is less than low hold, then C3 equals false. So it should have turned those guys off. If low is less than low hold, then C3 is equal to false. Yeah, very good. All right, so that turns off some of those things. Did it turn that off as well? It didn't give us that entry. Yep, so it prevented us from having that entry. If low is less than low hold, okay, all right. If C3 is equal to true, then begin, low H is equal to low end, and low is less than low H. Yeah, I've got to make this a mission for me to figure this one out, because this is I like the complexity of this script, but this is so many pieces in the different data streams that this is a little bit of a mind bender. And my mind is kind of going somewhere else right now. I know we got to go pick our dogs up, so I know I don't have enough time to really get into it. And just as soon as I do, it's gonna be time to go. So. And every time C3 is equal to true, low is getting a new low H. So this have to be, it's like one time, I don't know. So the method works for what I'm looking for, but it's not resetting or only turning on when I get this C3 to equal to true. C3 equals to true, and C3 of a bar go is false. Then tell you what, let's do this. Okay, so this does work. Alright, then count is equal to 1. Count is equal to 1, and then count plus equals 1. That resets that to count 1. And if count is greater than or equal to 2, then we're going to perform this. Okay, I got you. That's why it's continuing to work. If count is greater than or equal to if count is greater than 0, then we're going to do that. If count is greater than or equal to 2, then we're going to do that. If we do find this up here, we're going to begin that. We're going to set count is equal to 0. And count is greater than or equal to 2. Put it at 2, that'll give us this, and that'll give us that. And if we find this condition, we're going to set count equal to 0 so it won't keep working. And then also, okay, that should help. Helped in the worst way. C3 is equal to false. Okay. This needs to be up there. Count is greater than 0. What? The low data one is less than wow. The beginning count is equal to 0. C3 is equal to false. And C3 equal to false. But check range checks it down here. Checks it up there. I know this has got something to do with it, but I feel like I need that. No. I didn't do it. Oh, it's the count. Yeah. All right, I don't know where that one comes into the mix. Low data one is less than low of base and count 0. Well, technically this should be low of data 2. Count is greater than or equal to 2, then look for NE. Alright, let's try this. Just to see where we're at, what page we're on. If count is greater than or equal to 2, then let's plot. Plot 5. Okay. So count is greater than or equal to 2 here. And here. And here. But it should be pretty much every single one of those bars. After this, it should be every single one of those bars. Count should be greater than or equal to 2. So if it's not, then we're resetting count too many times. If C3 is equal to true and C3 of one of Vargo is false, then begin plot 3. But this isn't plotting multiple times, so this shouldn't be resetting. And we're not even coming up here because we're not even doing a look for NE anymore because we took it out right here. So count is greater than or equal to 2. This, I would feel like this keeps getting hit, but it doesn't, because if it did, then it would plot the bars. It would plot black. So this is not an issue. count isn't even really being referenced other than here and here. I'm plotting here. Let's make sure I've got the right thing here. What? All right. This is happening on every 5th bar, actually. So that means that this is referencing the 5-minute. All these dots are referencing the 5-minute time frame. So it is pretty much happening on every bar. And so we need. Can I plot on the 1-minute time frame? Because I guess I can't. Which is important to know. You know what? I can't. Okay, so that helps me. That helps me a lot when understanding that when I'm here and I'm referencing data stream 2. When I want to come over here, let me see. I can't plot on data 2. In other words, I can't plot the data 2 bar. Excuse me. Data 1 bar. Can't plot on data 1. And if you can, then that's something that I'm unaware of. How you plot for a specific bar. So if I go here and I go to this, you got to base the study on one plot or another, one data stream or another. Maybe because it's a show me. Maybe if I did it as an indicator, I could plot on one data stream or another. I want to play with that. I want to just do an indicator just to see if I can plot on data 1 or data 2. All right, because that'll help me to know what I can and can't do. All right, so when I'm basing this study, basing the show me on, data 2, then it's going to plot based on the data 2 bars. If I base it on the data 1, then it'll plot it based on the data 1 bars. But it looks like once I establish if it's based on data 1 or data 2, that I cannot then go in my program and say, oh no, plot it on data 1. Oh, plot this one on data 2. I don't know that I can do that. So I don't know that I can do that. So if I do this, it's not even give me that option, right? So then plot 5. I can plot the 5, but that's about it. I can't say of data 2. It says you just need to put a colon here, semicolon here, and be done with it. So again, when I'm looking at these values for the 5-minute time frame, and then I want to dial it in a little bit more and go to the 1-minute time frame, I can't go to the 1-minute time frame, not on a show me. Let's copy this and go to an indicator and I'm just gonna put swing low delete. When I'm putting something together and it's really about to be garbage and I'm just kind of learning and stuff, I'll just do that so that I don't get confused with what I want to do. And I'm saving data that is not useful. Okay, so even here, so I can use information from multiple data streams, but I can only plot on one or the other. Interesting. So I can verify that. That's fine. So even on an indicator of data 2, plot data 2. Nope. Let me right click this and see if it gives me any other options. Plot 1. Serve word plot. Yeah. Okay. So good to know. So when you are using multiple data streams, you need to decide at the beginning of your script, you need to decide if you're going to plot, for your show me or your indicator, you need to decide if you're going to be plotting. You need to pick the data stream that you're going to plot on. And as I understand it, the smaller time frame data stream needs to be the smaller time frame data stream needs to be the first data stream. So you got like data stream 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if you have 4 data streams, one is 1 second data stream, 5 second data stream, 10 second, and 15 second data stream. Well, your 1 second data stream needs to be data stream 1, and then 5, 10, 15, whatever it is, you need to have them more or less in order so they kind of build one on top of another. And so once you have those 4 data streams, if you want to plot based on like the 10 second data stream, then when you go here to your to setting up your study, you need to base the study on the 10 second data stream. You need to base it on whichever one you want to base it on. You can still use the use the nomenclature, use the syntax within your script to say, all right, well, I want to look at the close of data 2. I want to look at the high of data 1. I want to look at the open of data 4. But when you plot, you're plotting it based on the data 3 information. And you won't need to write data 3 because you can't write data 3. The only way that you're accessing the data 3 is to then come over and then click this on data 3. So, all right, so that's helpful. But like I said, that kind of means that I need to go back to the drawing board, and I mean, not really. So here, when I put this study up, instead of basing it on data 2, which is the 5-minute time frame, I need to base it on data 1. here. Oh, excuse me. 3, 2. Right. So in order for me to base this on the 1 minute time frame, come back here, verify that. Now it's all here. You see, it's showing up that this is the count is greater than 2 on every single 5-minute bar. Here, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it would have been under here. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's here. So every 5 minutes, it's showing up. All right. So in order to move that from the 5-minute time frame, which is 2 minute, the data 2 stream, we just put on the 1. So now it should show up on every single bar. Yeah. All right. But the plots here are showing up multiple times as well. Remember when we did the 5-minute time frame, it only showed up once right here. All right. So if we do a horizontal, this 5-minute time frame, do global positioning. Global positioning shows here when we're looking at the 5-minute time frame, it only showed up as a 1 potential entry. Now that would have been 1 potential entry right there, which we did get when we had both the 1 minute and the 5-minute time frame up right here, and we based this study on the 5-minute time frame. It only showed up once, but now that we're basing it on the 1 minute time frame, it shows up multiple times. So like I said, we can still take the information from the 5-minute time frame. We just need to then plot based on the 1 minute time frame. So that, as much time as it took me to just kind of sort through this stuff and figure out what was what, now to find out that I really need to kind of go back through and change all this, I don't think I got the brain power for it. And if I mess with it, I'm sure I'm going to be walking around really messed up, because I'm about to give it all I've got. About to give it all I got. Alright, so count is greater than or equal to 2. Alright, so that, if C3 is equal to true, count is greater than 0, then count plus equal to 1. Yeah, and all of these have to be based on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back through. I'm gonna have to sit down and really think about it, because this has got to be based on the data too, also. Because before I didn't need to do it because it was already based on data too. Yeah. And see, I can't even do it with that. I think it's got to be here. So again, a little bit of a learning curve here. Yeah, didn't like that. Oh, wait a minute, it did like that. Okay. All right, so if those are true, then we got that of that. Again, where does that show up? Okay, there's some reds. Insert the low. data 2. High data 2. There we go. Okay, and then those show back up. So we're back on track. So like I said, we got to do all these of data 2. I don't know if we can do bare of data 2. Yeah. Okay. Check range. All right. Woo! C3 is equal to true and C1. Embargo is false. C3 is equal to true. C3 embargo is equal to false, and we can plot 3. And to get C3 value, we gotta do look for NE. All right, well, I'm gonna work on this later, but I mean, there is some, I think I might have something here. So, and again, I don't expect for it to be easy. All this money that I'm about to scrape from the market, I don't expect for it to come without some headache. I really don't. So, I'm just gonna put that time in. But I'm close, so I'll play with this a little bit longer when we get back, when I got some time to devote to it, because I don't want to not devote the proper amount of time to it and then not have a successful outcome, and then I just scrap it all together, which, like I said, looks like it's pretty decent. So yeah, C3 is equal to true and C3, but where did I get the C3 from? I think I deleted something that told me C3. Okay, C3 was up here. C3 is equal to true. So actually, I'm just going to say if C3 is equal to true, then plot 6 low. See what we get. Okay. C3 is equal to true in here somewhere, but it should not be true on every single bar. C3 is equal to true. Yeah. So C3 needs to be turned off at some point. And all of those aren't true for sure. So I think I was saying if low is less than, do I have that on there somewhere? If low of data 2 is less than low. Okay, that's where that low H came from in there somewhere. Low H is less than low H of data 2, then C3 equals false. Low H, because it's a variable, it doesn't get to have of data 2 associated with it. It's already been defined right here. Okay. Low of data 2 is less than low H of, is less than low H. We're not getting in here at all because we're not getting anything black. We're not getting the lows plotted as black, so we're not getting in here at all anyway. I'm gonna turn that off. Alright, so we're getting those blues pop back up, but like I said, the black, we should be getting into here because there should be instances where we have C3 is equal to true and we have C3 of a bar goes equal to false. And C3 is referencing data 2. C3 is equal to true, C3 of the bar goes equal to false. Oh, this here should be data 1. Okay, so I need to change all these back so they're data 1. Changed them before when I thought I could do it the other way. But now I'm plotting on this time frame. All right. All right, let me see if I'm coming into this at all. Am I coming into this method at all? By saying print 5. Okay, so we did come into this at least one time, which, you know, there should be multiple instances of coming into this method. So one time is not indicative of this actually working per se. All right. C3 is equal to true. Well, we technically can't even come into. Okay. Again, C3 is equal to true. so we are coming into here. All right, so C3 is equal to true. All right, and if C3 is equal to true and C3 of a bar go is equal to false, then plot 3, that should be true, because all these blue instances here should be where we have a those blue instances are where we have blue is where we have C3 is equal to true. Boom, C3 is equal to true. So C3 is equal to true and C3 of a bar goes equal to false, then begin, we'll do that, and then we'll also plot this. So that should be plotting 6 anytime. Well, you know what? No, I made it real big, so it should plot as well. Point. Yep. C3 is equal to true and C3 of a bar goes false. We didn't turn C3 off here anywhere, so let me just put it out to the side. C3 is equal to true, then plot 7. We'll say low. That we'll do default, and we'll do it the largest one it's got, so it should be there also, but it should be larger than this, so it should be larger than that blue. Unless this blue is 6. Blue default 4. Okay, well that didn't change, so I'm thinking that that did change. So the blue is 3. Okay, so the yellow is there. I don't think it goes any higher. No. All right. All right, C3 is equal to true. And C3 bar go is equal to false. Then plot it, and it doesn't show up then, which is weird. Well, I guess not technically, because really when you take this away and it's showing you all the times when C3 is equal to true, it's showing that C3 is equal to true on every single bar, which should not be the case. So we need to figure that out. Oh, well, C3 is equal to true, but we're not plotting according to C3 equal to true. We're plotting according to coming into this function, into this area. So C3 is equal to true here, that's fine, but we need to turn C3 off after every time. So after we use this check range, we can go ahead and plot, and then we need to turn C3 off. So what if we turn C3 off down here? Okay, now we get the black dots come up. All right, very good. Okay, now that is definitely 6 size right there. Let's make it 4. Let's make it 5. Okay. Then we can get this out of here. Okay. All right. So then black. So we are going up into this range now. So now we're saying if high is greater than high. So now we just need to figure out, okay, so now when we come into here, we are given count being equal to 1, and we're also going ahead and assigning the low. This needs to do it the first time and not every time subsequent though, so we need to figure out how to turn it off. Okay, so count is equal to 1, and if count is greater than 0, then count plus equal to 1. So now we got to figure out the rest of it. And I've done scripts like this before, so it shouldn't be impossible. But I'm trying to do it with a method so it encapsulates everything, and that's what's making this more difficult. So I'm not disturbed by the fact that it's taking a while. It's just that I'm trying to do it a different way. I don't need this in here right now. Count is equal to 1. And now after count gets assigned to 1, so if count is equal to 2, then I'll say condition 1 equals true. If condition 1, this is where you kind of start your daisy chain. Condition 1, and this is doing it outside of the method, which, like I said, I need to work to make it so that I can work with inside the method, but I'll do that on some other time. If condition 1 is equal to true, then condition of true and high is greater than high of a bar ago, then condition 2 equals true. If condition 2 equals true and high is less than high of a bar ago, then condition 3 equals true. If condition 3 equals true and low and high is less than high less than high of a bar ago, then condition 4 equals true. If condition 4 equals true and high is less than high of a bar ago, then condition 4. Ah. This is devolving. This is definitely going down the toilet. All right. This is definitely going down the toilet. Oh, come on, really? I would misspell that and then copy and paste it 1,000 times. That's only something Eric would do. All right. Steal. Why did I go to 7? Why did I go to 7? There we go. Okay. Yeah, but this ain't right. This ain't right. Count is equal to 2. Condition 1. Condition 1 is equal to true. Okay. So we're starting off. All right, so condition 1 is equal to true, and high is greater than the high of a bar go, then condition 2 is equal to true. Condition 2 is equal to true. And high is less than high is greater than half a bar go. I don't really need condition 4. Well, it's the same as condition 3, so it doesn't really change anything. It was just extra line. Condition 4 is equal to true, and high is less than high bar go. Don't really need this one either. Condition 4 is the lower high. Problem is, if I could just say of a bar ago. Okay. All right. Yeah, of a bargo won't work. And that's why we practice. Jesus. Condition 2 of a bargo is equal to true. Condition 1, condition 2 is equal to true. Condition 2 of a bargo is equal to true. Condition 1 is equal to true, and the high is higher than the high of a bargo. Condition 2 is equal to true. Condition 2 of a bargo is equal to true, and high is less than bargo, then condition 3 is equal to true. Condition 3 of a bargo is equal to true, and the high is greater than the high of a bargo, then condition 4 is equal to true. I think that's as far as we need to go, is condition 4. Condition 4 is equal to true, then plot low 9. And then we're going to reset everything. Okay. Still. What the heck? What's this? I've got to figure out how to write a method that's going to just keep track of this moving forward. So that's my goal for tomorrow. Because there's got to be an easy way to write a method to keep track of a like moving line, starting from the beginning, starting from a beginning point. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. But my best shot at it right now is this right here. Count is equal to 2. First of all, let's make sure that if count is equal to 2, we're in the right spot. Then we're going to plot 11 high. Okay, so we're actually starting right here. Count being equal to 2, we're starting right here. Why? I would think that we'd be starting right here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? That's why it is, because we are basing our yep, every time. It might look great. It looks like we got our first indication here to enter, our first signal here to enter, but because these black dots are based on the 5-minute time frame, then the 5-minute time frame doesn't, the 5-minute bar doesn't finish until here. So once you get that 5-minute bar here, now it's giving you a plot on every single one of these 5-minute bars, because you're basing your data off of the 5-minute bar, but you're plotting on the 1-minute bar, which technically I would like to see only, just like this, only one show up here on the 1-minute bar. Even though it's based on the 5-minute time frame, I'd only like to see one data point show up. So if C3 is equal to true and C3 of 1 ago is equal to false and begin, so we're going to plot this. And again, this is based on the 5-minute time frame right here. And so we're getting all the blacks to show up, which this is our first, after this bar lights everything up, this is our very next candle. So now we're getting down. I wonder if this is being based on the 5-minute time frame also. And that's why it's showing up way up there. It says data 1. Okay, so that's plot 3. That equals to 3. And the next one beside it should equal to 4. Okay. Alright, so that's right. Gotta know what you're working with. But I gotta make a mental note that that's what this is doing. Because the 5-minute bar, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm pretty sure that my script should be a bearish candle. So it should fire on this bearish candle, not this one. Yeah, it should be plotting the bearish candle. Right? See this bearish candle, not this bullish candle. We told it to plot here, and it looked like it didn't even plot this. Let's call this bear. And now see where the bear pops up, because I'm not seeing the bear pop up at all. And that's how you have to name your stuff right here. You see how we named it? All right, so we named it. We did points. It's large. It should show me. But oh, that's because that's not that. That's here. This blue one should be what pops up. Yeah, that seems like that's off because, like I said, this is the data 2 stream, you know, the 5-minute time frame. So this is the bear, and this one should be popping off, not this. So I'm gonna have to dissect this thing and really go all the way back into it. It's a very good script to work on, though. I'm really actually enjoying this, but I'll probably start it back up tomorrow when I have more time to really put into it. And again, just make sure that we're on the right one. Yeah, that is what that is. But this shouldn't be showing up here. It should be showing up here. This candle closes, and when this 1135 can't you see all the way at the bottom, that 1135 candle closes. When it closes, everything that we're referencing, this closing low here, it actually is meeting the condition of being within this high and this low here. So everything from this 1135 candle back, 1135, 1134, 1133, 32, 31, all those candles should light up. Instead of lighting up 1135 and back, it's lighting up 1140 and back. So until we cross that bridge, none of the rest of this will make sense at all. So I'm glad I took the time to see and make sure I understood where this was firing off, because the rest of this won't make sense at all. I can do this. I mean, it moved everything back one bar, but I mean that's not the solution. Oh no, I'm thinking maybe it's because within the method. Thinking maybe it was because it was within the method and we have a loop here. I was so many bars off. But no. unless it's off by 1 bar, which that still doesn't even make sense. Even if this was off by 1 bar versus this, because of the number of max bars back setting or something like that, this would be a, you know what? Maybe. Let me see. They're both going back 15 days, but because max bars back setting. But even if you look at this at a 5-minute time frame, spectrum, this here is the open, close, open, close. Open, close makes this a bullish bar. And I'm specifically telling it, when you're looking on the 5-minute time frame, look for a bearish candle. I didn't tell it that until later. I didn't tell it that until here. Bear of data 2 and low of data 2 is less than, yeah, that's condition 1. If Eric's market ends condition 1, then check range. That's when we go up to check range, and then we get that. Yeah, so I did tell it that. I said if it's a bear of data 2, and the low of data 2 is less than the low of embargo of data 2. Yeah, I don't understand. I'm sure it'll come to me. But not right now. If I change this to bull of data 2. But now that is a bull, right? From open to close, open to close, that is a bull. That is not a bear. Should I say bear of embargo? That's weird. Well, now that would have been right. No. Is this 5-minute? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It still looks like that would have been a bull. You know what? Maybe that's what it is. I've got, maybe it's a bar off. You see, when I click on this one, now we're already into this bar. This one, this one, this one, this. So even when I'm on this one, this is the start, right? But this is saying that this was the last bar. This is saying that this right here is the close of that 5-minute time frame. And so now it's firing off everything in advance of it. But usually it fires off on everything behind it, right? So it would, so this is the first bar, if you will, and so it should fire off everything behind it, not in front of it. And I would be happy. Well, that's not even the lowest bar. But again, it doesn't have to be because a bar can wick down and come back up. So I would be happy if I could just tell the script, which is technically what I'm trying to do. So I'll focus on that. If I could tell the script that yes, because this is the last minute of this 5-minute bar. This is the last minute. So this is when we first see the condition met. We're going to start from here moving forward. But we're not going to highlight all these bars. We're just going to start from here moving forward, from this bar moving forward. Yeah, that's technically what I'm looking for. So, you know, this is not this part of the program is not dead. And because yeah. But I guess because this fires that, now that's probably one of the issues of working with multiple time frames, because this fires on the last minute, this fires off. Now because it fires off here, now we have to look at the next 5 minutes because we're looking at a 5-minute time frame. So now we have to keep scoring this true on the next 5 minutes, on the next 5 bars. Woo! That is more complicated than it has to be. Jesus. All right, if C6 is equal to true, then we're going to begin. We're going to plot. Yeah, so then we begin. We plot 4. We plot this on only the first one. But I can't use multiple one statements though. Well, it looked like I used one statement there and it still kept showing up, so. Oh, that's not even that anyway. Where's that red coming from? Right here. Right here. Okay. Well. All right, I'm gonna play around with it. I know I've got some things to work on. I know I've got a few things to understand as I'm, you know, kind of daisy chaining stuff. So this will be a good exam for me. And yeah, we'll see how I do. Okay, guys. With that, I'm out. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.